Oklahoma City that's the most
A
glaring?
week ago, I'm looking at OKC. They were 30 and 20.
Rolling.
Everybody thinking they're rolling. Everybody knows their role. Paul George is fitting in perfect. Carmelo Anthony accepted the role as the third wheel. Russ is being Russ. And all of a sudden, you lose 4 games in a row. And then you can't come home after the week that you've had and lose to the Lakers. No disrespect to the Lakers. But if you want us to seriously consider you as a championship caliber team, the way Houston is playing, the way Golden State is playing, and the way you assume San Antonio is going to play once they get healthy and Minnesota's sitting there lurking, and you can't beat the Lakers at home, who's been struggling on and off this entire season, then at some point you got to look in the mirror like Bill Parcells said. You are who you are. And your record right now, you're 30 and 24. You're behind Minnesota, and you don't have any significant wins.
Which one of these losses is the most egregious, right? You look at the Wizards, they lost without John Wall on the floor, but you're saying the Lakers.
Because, one, they were on the road. Look,
okay.
When you're on the road, it's tough, okay, with all the variables. You understand that, Chris, you play basketball. But when you come home and you've been struggling, and you're playing a team like the Lakers that don't have Alonzo Ball, that has been struggling themselves, and you got them at home, you got to put them away. You got to send a message. That's a get-right game. And right now, when you look at the way this team is playing, they're still playing good defense. You know, Russ is being Russ, Paul George is being Paul, Steven Adams is playing great. But where's the rest of this roster chipping in and helping out?
Do you think Russell Westbrook, Paul George, and Steven Adams, you think that's just not enough, especially with Robertson?
It should be. I mean, look, Chris.
Because that's a lot of talent.
Look, I played on a team in Minnesota with 1 All-Star, Kevin Garnett. When I coached in Toronto, we were a playoff team with 1 All-Star and Chris Bosh. 1 used to be enough. Now you have teams with 2, 3, and a half when you start talking about star caliber players. So when you start looking at Carmelo, Russ, Paul George, and then you look at Adams, and you start asking the question, is that enough? Because those 4 guys are supposed to raise the level of play for everybody else on that team. If Chris Bosh and Kevin Garnett can do that for 13 guys, I would think those 4 guys can raise the level of play for 8 guys.
Now, on the flip side of that coin, Julius Randle, Jordan Clarkson, these 2 guys have been playing extremely well.
And what do we know about them? Every day they're reading, they're getting traded. Every day. But yeah, look how they're playing. Well, I don't know if it's going to happen, but it's not affecting the way they play. Look, instead of being down and despondent, saying, hey, the Lakers want to trade us, we're not part of the future, those 2 young men are saying, look, if you trade for me, this is what you're going to get. You're going to get a guy with a great attitude. You're going to get a young player that's working and continuously getting better. And if you want me, I want you. And to me, Chris, that's how I always looked at a trade. I was traded, but I never dwelled on the fact that one team was trading me. I dwelled on the fact that the team that was wanting me and was trading for me, they really wanted me.
20 points, 5 assists for Brook Lopez. And you mentioned, hey, he had been sitting some fourth quarters. How well is he playing? Is he also a guy that could possibly be on the trading block?
Absolutely. I mean, look, when you look at Brook Lopez, he's not a great defensive center. He's not going to shut down the paint. But the thing that he can do, he can flat out score the basketball. And when you have Brook on the floor, he can shoot the 3, he can post up, he can put it on the floor, and he makes free throws. So for the things that he don't do defensively, he adds another element that you have to be concerned about on the offensive end.